everybody a question. Now, who here, you're like me, 20 years ago, when we grew up as a kid, we play outside, we play the eraser, we play the bottle cap, and we did not have a lot of electronic devices. If this is how you grew up as a child, type me in the chat box. If this was you 20 years ago, all right? When I grew up, this was how we grew up, all right? So if you grew up the same way, type me in the chat box. Now, 20 years ago, this is how most of us grew up. Okay, so let's have a very fun and interactive session today in the chat box, yeah? So you can just type what you want in the chat box, respond to me in the chat box. So we all have a very participative Zoom for tonight, okay? So today, right, how are young children growing up? How are they growing up? Like this, right? Who here you have your own children, your own son, your own daughter, or maybe some of your granddaughter or grandson, niece and nephew, they grow up like this, right? Using the laptop, using iPad, using all these electronic devices. And this is something that we cannot stop, right? More and more children are using these kind of devices. My question to everybody is this: do you think the usage of all these laptop, iPad, TV, and all these touchscreen games, do you think this will be beneficial for the child, or do you think there are actually some adverse effects? Type 2 if you believe there are some adverse effects when children use this kind of electronic devices. Yeah, type 2 if you believe and you know there are certain adverse means bad or negative effects on the children with all these devices. Yeah, but we cannot stop it, right? We cannot stop it. We have to allow them to use it. Okay, so when we talk about pollution, ladies and gentlemen, around the world we have water pollution, which I believe a lot of us, most of us here are drinking the Kangen water. Who here is drinking Kangen water? Kangen in the chat box. All right, so we have air pollution, we have noise pollution. See, most people talk about these three kinds of pollution, but there is one type of pollution that the world is not talking about yet. Now they're talking more and more about it, and more people, professionals, scientists, and doctors are slowly recognizing the threat of something called the electromagnetic radiation, which is coming from all our devices, and it is a pollution, right? A pollution that we cannot see. Let me ask all you guys, about 63 of us already this evening. Let me ask everybody a question. If this was your living room, right, and when you walk in, all you see is color lines coming out from TV. It's like radiation that coming out from your TV, your Wi-Fi, your speaker, your purifier, your all these devices. Who here, you will not feel safe, okay, sitting in the living room like this? Type 1. If you feel safe, type 2. If you don't feel safe, type 1 in the chat box. But this is actually how your living room looks like. But the waves or the radiation is invisible, right? We cannot see. So if you can see it, a lot of us wouldn't even dare to sit in the living room, all right? Because that's how it looks like. Right? So there's something invisible, but it actually affects us. Yeah, it actually affects us. So what are the EM stands for electromagnetic radiation sources around us today? So we have phone, we have router, Wi-Fi, we have air conditioning. You know, I know a lot of us here in Malaysia, we have very hot weather. So during the night, we're on air conditioning for the whole night. And then in the morning, when we go to a living room, when we go to our offices, we are also under air conditioning. And it's actually one of the sources of radiation. Plasma television. Some of you have 70-inch, 100-inch TV in your home. Okay, a lot of radiation. Power line, microwave, all these things around us, right? So let's understand what kind of radiation is actually tremendously harmful to the body, and what kind of radiation actually exists in our lives today. They may not cause us immediate harm, but in the long term, scientifically proven to actually affect our body in a bad way. So let's understand this. So there's something called the ionizing and non-ionizing radiation. Okay, so ionizing radiation, this is something you just go and Google, right? Ionizing radiation is going to affect your body immediately. So these are things like X-ray, gamma ray, nuclear blast and all that. So these are the tremendously harmful radiation. But of course, fortunately, we're not exposed to this kind of radiation on a daily basis. What we're really exposed to is the non-ionizing, the one with the lower energy from our power line, radio, cell phone, microwave, infrared, and visible. Some of us were using LED light. Who here in your house, you are using LED energy saving lights? Type LED in the chat box. You're using LED energy saving light. Later, we're going to go through, are these things actually good or bad for us? Okay, so we're going to talk about the non-ionizing radiation. So on this chart, it says it has less energy. However, according to the FCC, later I will share with you guys the report. The human body absorbs RF energy at some frequency more effectively than others at a range of 30 to 300 megahertz. And 30 to 300 megahertz belongs to the non-ionizing range. It is actually the one with the less energy, but our body actually absorbs a lot more of these kind of frequencies more than the others. Okay, so who said this? This is according to the Federal Communication Commission, short form the FCC, evaluating compliance with FCC guidelines for human exposure to radio frequency electromagnetic fields. When was this published? In 1997, many years ago. Yeah, so Wang said, Wang type LED, Ui Chunlan also type LED. Even my house, we're using a lot of LED lights. So let's understand it later, the dangers of all these kind of things. So the FCC exposure limits are based on, this is basically a zoom in of the text, okay? So the body actually absorbs 30 to 300 more efficient. So why is that a problem? So let's understand this table called the frequency table of body organs. So I'm sure we're all aware that our body also has its frequencies. So our brain, our human body, our heart, our liver, our pancreas, all have a frequency according to the body itself, anywhere from 55 all the way to 90. So you can see this 55 to 90, it falls in the range of the 30 to 300 megahertz. Am I right? What we have shared just now, right here. Right? It falls in between or inside the range of 30 to 300. So our body has a frequency between this range. So when we have electronic devices around us that is actually sending out radiation at these kind of frequencies as well, what happens? What happens? Something called the resonance theory happens. So I'm going to play you guys a short video. Okay, so this is called a tuning fork experiment done by a scientist. All right. So what he's doing is he's using a 512 hertz tuning fork, and he's hitting the tuning fork. But the other tuning fork is only at 440 hertz. So it's a different frequency, right? The one he's holding is higher. And the 440 hertz has a 2 ping pong ball around it. So what happens when he hits the 512 hertz? Nothing happens to the other tuning fork because it is a different frequency. But when he uses the same frequency tuning fork, what happens, ladies and gentlemen? Can somebody type in the chat box, what did they observe? Can you see that the ping pong ball is actually moving? What does that mean? All right. It means the same frequency causes something called the resonance of your body organs and your what do you call your cells. So which means when you have the same frequency going into your body, it actually causes the vibration of our cells and our tissue because it is the same frequency. All right. So how does EM radiation affect our health? So again, this is according to the FCC, whereby they have a guideline of how much power intensity that the radiation that is coming onto our body is acceptable, slightly dangerous, or extremely dangerous. All right. So they have this chart. So it's the green zone, yellow zone, orange zone, and red zone. So if it's the red zone, right, it is already considered extremely dangerous. So what are the symptoms of exposing ourselves from yellow to red zone for long hours? Now, ladies and gentlemen, I like to be very careful with my languaging. The word is long hours. You see, if our phone and our gadgets causes us so much harm, it wouldn't be approved to be used in the public. Am I right? But we're all using it. These are all approved electronic devices. So these are symptoms of exposing ourselves long hours. You know, people who are always on their phone, few hours a day, they're using the laptop, they're around a lot of electronic devices. So these are the potential symptoms, including concentration, memory, and learning problem, especially for the children. All right, if they're exposed to all these devices at a young age. Ear, eyes, and sinus problem, immune system problem, fatigue, dizziness or balance problem, heart problems, sleeping problems, body pain, skin rashes, stress and anxiety, headache, and even cancer. Later, I'll share with you some reports from WHO as well. let me ask everybody a question. Who here, you charge your phone, your laptop in your own room? Type me in the chat box if that is you. Who here, you charge your phone, all that in your own room? Type me. Yeah, I'm one of them. Yeah? Because why? Before go to sleep, always on the phone. After go to sleep, go and put it on charge next to my bed and then go and sleep. Right? So this is actually affecting us. All right, when we are actually doing all this into our room. So I'm going to share with you guys. I'm just going to stop sharing for a moment. I'm going to show you guys a few videos. Later, I'm going to bring up the chart again. I'm going to show you guys a few videos that will show you guys how much power intensity. I've shot a few videos myself. I want to show you guys how much power intensity exists in our daily lives. Okay, and when we understand the power intensity, anything above 1,000 to 1,500 microwatts is considered dangerous for the body. Okay, so I'm going to play a few videos. Let me just bring it up. 1 second, yeah, guys. Okay, so I'm gonna play the first video, which is the car. So let me share my screen. Okay, before the car, let me play this video first. Before the car, I want to share this. Can you guys see my screen? Can you guys see my screen? Okay, so this is a radiation detector. Okay, some of you have already bought this detector from Enagic, and you have been going around your house like a feng shui sifu, go and check which places got a lot of radiation and all that. Okay, so this radiation detector, what it shows is, it shows the power intensity of the radiation from 0 all the way to 2,000 microwatts. Now, anything according to the FCC above 1,000 microwatts is considered dangerous already. So this video is one of our users of emGuarde. He has actually taken the radiation detector to his old home, which is near a power line. All right, and he has done an experiment. So I'm going to just start this video, and I hope you guys can hear the audio as well. Okay, everybody?
This is where I used to live, and across the road, less than 100 meters, this is the high tension cable. Let me show you what I mean by very high density of electric field intensity. So currently, if you notice, right, when I turn on the detector, as you can see, the entire
1,400
around my house,
1,500
1,500 microwatts. Now this direction is where the high tension cable is not behind the ring, so there is nothing there. But once I move the detector towards the high tension cable,
what happens, ladies and gentlemen? It's going to 1,009, 1,800.
Between 1,800 microwatts
power
to
line.
2,000 microwatts steadily.
Once the detector shows the number 1, it means it has exceeded 1,999 microwatts, above 1,999, 2,000 and above. It will show a number 1. Take a look at that. Okay, so this is for share with some of your friends who are living near power lines. Now, secondly, who here you spend a lot of your time in the car? So I've actually recently shot a video. Let me just share with you guys. And later I'm going to show you a video that how the emGuarde actually works. Yeah. So hope you guys can see my video. So this is a video that I shot for those of us who spend time in traffic jam in the car. Let's enjoy this video.
Hey Simon, where are you going?
Hey bro, I'm just heading out. But before I go out, I want to show you guys something really interesting. Are you one of those people that spends a couple hours a day in the car, stuck in the traffic jam or traveling long hours? And have you ever felt after spending a lot of time in your car, you feel headache, maybe you feel tiredness, or maybe you get some pains in your eyes? Now this is not just because of the jam, it is also because that our cars are also emitting a lot of radiation onto our body, our brain and our eyes. So let's take a look at this radiation detector. When I turn it on, all right, let's take a look at, is my car safe or not safe? Wow, take a look at that. My entire space in my car is actually emitting a ton of radiation. No wonder people get so stressed up, so tired after spending so much time in the car. So what I have here is the emGuarde by Enagic, right? I placed one in my car and I'm just gonna turn it on and I just leave it and let's test it now. Okay, let's test it now. Take a look at this.
What happened,
once the emGuarde is on, I am totally protected by all the radiation emitted by my car, so that when I spend long hours or get stuck in the traffic jam every day going and coming back from work, I'm fully safe, stress-free, having peace of mind, and without any harmful effects on my body.
Okay, so I have 3 videos to share with you guys. The first one has been shared about the power lines, and the second one is on the cars, which I believe a lot of us Malaysians, we spend a lot of time in our cars, maybe every day, 1 to 2 hours stuck in the jam. And especially those cars who are newer cars, we have all this LCD screen and all that. Just those of you who have your radiation detector, just bring the detector to your car. You will be actually surprised to see the amount of interference that you have actually in your cars. And I have the last video to share with you guys, which is something to do with our mobile phones and our laptops. And let's see how the emGuarde works as well. So I'll be sharing the video. Yep. Okay. Let me enlarge it.
Alright, so for those of us who are constantly on our mobile phones, on our laptop, let's test how much radiation we're actually exposed to. Alright, so I'm going to use my radiation detector. So the phones are emitting tremendous amounts of radiation. Alright, and let's look at our laptops. Equally bad as well. Alright, so what we're going to do now, we're going to plug in the emGuarde by Enagic. Okay, just like that. So it's turned on now. And we're going to go back to the phone. It is completely zero. And the laptop is zero as well when the emGuarde is turned on. So currently now my entire space here is without any harmful radiation with emGuarde. So change your environment, change your life.
Okay, so these are the common what do you call that, devices around us that is actually emitting a lot. And here I'd like to share with you guys. Remember just now on the meter, most of these things are showing number 1, which is above 1,500 microwatts. Yeah, even on the low end, some of these phones and devices are showing 1,004, 1,005. Yeah, so why is it important for us to protect ourselves? Because according to WHO, now this was a press release back in 2011. The WHO actually said that they classified radio frequency electromagnetic fields as possibly carcinogenic to humans, group 2B. Do you know what else was in group 2B as well? Cigarettes was in group 2B as well. So basically, WHO is classifying that electromagnetic fields is possibly carcinogenic based on an increased risk of glioma, a malignant type of brain cancer associated with wireless phone use. All right. So there are a lot of publications, even from Apple. They also talk about to reduce exposure to RF energy, we should be using hands-free options such as built-in speakerphone, headphone, or other accessories as well. So you see, WHO or even big companies, they recognize the fact that there is actually something called the RF energy that actually affects our human biology. Okay, and I'm sure a lot of us, we are also familiar with this book. For those of us who are into the Kangen water business, we know about killing cancer, not people. And in page 94, they also talk about EMF, where cordless cell phone, smart meter. Now in Malaysia, you have our TNB putting smart meters in our house, computer, Wi-Fi, and their connection to autism, Alzheimer, obesity, multiple sclerosis, allergies, cancer, and others. And EMF pollution now includes a decrease in immune function and cancer. So, ladies and gentlemen, the summary of today's Zoom, before I go into the second part of today's Zoom, is that we know there is something called EMF pollution. We know we are surrounded by all these devices. But for the years before this, before Enagic launched emGuarde, most of us did not know how can we defend ourselves. And I don't know about you, but for me, I knew there was harmful effects from electronic devices in terms of EMF. I didn't know it could cause a lot of these kind of diseases. I didn't know it was so serious until I was educated on it. All right. So now with emGuarde, we are truly blessed. And the whole technology of the emGuarde is based out of the research of this doctor. Her name is Dr. Magda Havas. She's a Canadian researcher. She researches the areas of environment and health effects of electromagnetic pollution. And her work focuses on the biological effects of the electromagnetic radiation. So what has she found? she found out that when you expose yourself to the computer, using the computer for 70 minutes, who here you use computer for more than 70 minutes? Type 1 in the chat box. A day, a day. You use computer more than 70 minutes a day. Type 1 in the chat box. All right. You can develop something called the rouleau formation. Okay. You can develop something called the rouleau formation, which is a type of blood formation. If you look at our healthy red blood cells, all right, healthy red blood cells in a clean EMR environment, okay, somebody just sent me a message and said that tobacco was in class, is in group 1 of the WHO. It used to be on the 2B, okay? Now, a healthy red blood cell in a clean EMR environment is like this, blood flow, okay, it's free. But when you use 70 minutes of computer, a rouleau formation starts to come, which is what we call the stacking of the red blood cells, which slows down the blood circulation. Okay. Now, when you use wireless cordless phone for 10 minutes, now it becomes more stacked together. Now, question is, do you think this kind of formation is good or bad for the body? Short answer is, of course, it's not good for the body because the symptoms include poor circulation, low oxygen transport, reduced waste removal, headache, fatigue, difficulty concentrating, numbness, tingling, and cold extremities. And this can be caused by all these devices. Okay, so these are the effects of the EMR. Now here, let's look at this. This the slide that really gave me a lot of confidence on how the emGuarde actually works, because this is actually from Taiwan, from Hongming Ophthalmology, Dr. Liu Renjian. What he has done 3 stages of experiments. So stage number 1, I want you guys to look at the numbers. Stage number 1, he measures something called the peak systolic velocity. I don't like to go too technical. These slides will be shared in the Telegram group. You guys are free to go and do your research and go and check out what are all these terms in the experiment. Now, he checked 10 people, their average PSV, which is the microcirculation of their eyes. Now, of course, if our eyes have good blood circulation, our eyesight is better compared to low blood circulation. So this is common sense, right? So before doing anything, he took 10 subjects, 10 people, and he tested the microcirculation of their eyes. It is showing 20.1 centimeter per second. That is the blood flow. Okay? 20.1 centimeter per second blood flow. Now, the second stage, what he has done is he has told these 10 people to use their phone for 30 minutes. What happened to their PSV? It dropped to 16.2, which means the usage of mobile phones reduces the microcirculation of their eyes, by about 20% if you do some calculation. Now, the third stage is he turned on a product like emGuarde that is able to alleviate electromagnetic radiation below 1 gigahertz. Later, I'm going to go through why 1 gigahertz. It improved the blood circulation to more than 25 PSV, 25.9 cm per second. So the blood circulation drastically improved after turning on the emGuarde. Now, some people even ask me, Simon, how come when you turn on the emGuarde, it's even higher than before? Because the emGuarde protects and neutralizes the radiation even from other sources in this room. Not just from the phone, but also from the LED lights, from the power cable, from the electronic lights. Maybe there are some extension cord or other sources of radiation. So this is actually from Hongming Ophthalmology in Taiwan. So if you know some of your friends and family that have eye problem, sleeping problem, definitely introduce them to emGuarde. Oops, sorry. Why is the video repeating? Sorry, let me just share my slide again. Sorry about that. So if you know some of your friends and family who are actually, suffering from eye problem, please share with them the emGuarde. Let me just share my screen again. Okay. Here we go. Okay, so some of us will be interested to know how does the emGuarde actually work. Okay, so the emGuarde is a patented technology. The coverage range is up to 4 meters radius or 8 meters diameter. So you are protected once the emGuarde is turned on, 8 meters circumference, up and down like a sphere. All right, so if you look at the straight line, it is 8 meters diameter, up and down. It harmonizes medium and high frequency up to 1 gigahertz. Remember why 1 gigahertz is because the FCC says the body absorbs 30 to 300 megahertz most effectively. 1 gigahertz is 1000 megahertz. So it actually protects more than what the FCC says the body is absorbing the most. And why doesn't the emGuarde cancel out frequencies higher than 1 gigahertz? Because it does not want to affect your Wi-Fi, your mobile phone, so that when you turn on the emGuarde, none of your electronic devices like your phone and your laptop and your Wi-Fi gets interference. Okay, so the emGuarde protects you from the harmful low ionizing frequencies in your house. Okay, which is what we have shared just now. Okay, so what it does, the emGuarde technology, it is breaking the pathway of the frequencies between 30 to 1000 megahertz, thus reducing the electric field intensity within its coverage range. So let's look at the two photos. So once the emGuarde is turned on, and every time there's an electronic device like a phone that comes into the coverage range, it will start to analyze and scan the coverage area. So once it picks up a EM radiation source like your phone, it will send up a cancellation frequency to break the pathway of the EM radiation. So just imagine EM radiation, it needs a pathway to get to us to affect our brain and our body. So when the emGuarde breaks the pathway, the energy does not have a pathway to travel to us. Thus, that's why when in the video you saw, when I turn on the emGuarde and when we use the radiation detector, the RD 9001, and I put it onto the phone or in the car or in those other, on the laptop, it shows a value of 0 because the pathway has been broken. The pathway has been broken. That's what the emGuarde actually does. Yeah, so it sends out a neutralizing or cancellation frequency. Okay, so the tagline of emGuarde is change your environment, change your life, ladies and gentlemen. I believe at a retail price of 6,620 ringgit for the emGuarde, it is absolutely priceless to have such a technology in your home because electronic devices will just get more and more and more in our homes. This is something we cannot stop. Devices like this are created to help us live a better life, improve our lifestyle, enjoyment and all that. But we need to have something that can actually reduce potential harmful effects of prolonged exposures to the devices. Okay, so I have friends that ask me, hey, we've been watching TV, we've been using phone for so many years, but we're still fine. So definitely this is a things that we could live forever, and maybe nothing may happen to us, right? Touch wood. But what if there's a product like here today? And by the way, those Malaysians, all right, all of us here, the company also offers installment programs on the emGuarde, all right? When it goes up to 24 months, it is only 276 ringgit a month. So if you look at 276 ringgit a month, it's less than 10 ringgit a day for a product that can protect yourself and your family from potential risks. Okay, and this emGuarde that's launched by Enagic now, it comes with a 1-year warranty and minimum of a 5-year lifespan. So the emGuarde, according to the manufacturer, okay, it will last minimum 5 years or more. Okay, so some people may ask, so what's going to happen after the 5th year? Is it going to stop working or what's going to happen? Answer is no. Now, the coverage area of 8 meters diameters could be lesser after 8 years. As we understand that the electrical, when it gets a bit older, the coverage may become smaller, but it will still work. All right. So you're looking at having this emGuarde in your house for the next 5 to maybe even 10 years. But we cannot promise that because we have recently just launched. 5 years is the expected life expectancy of the optimum coverage range of the emGuarde. So at a 24-month installment, you're looking at only 276 ringgit a month. Okay, interest-free for 2 years, and the product, you can start to use it. Speak to the person that invited you into this Zoom here today. Inquire with them how you can purchase the product. Visit the office, pick up your unit, and they will also share with you how to actually install it, which are the best places to put it in your home so that you actually get fully protected. Okay, so this is the first session of the Zoom meeting today, and I'm going to go into the second session now. So if for those of you who are here and you are only here and you're interested to only find out about the product, okay, this is the end of the first session, because